Best Buy is the world's leading consumer electronics retailer. We've been delighting customers for over 50 years. But there's more to our story. Our purpose, to enrich lives through technology, drives how we serve our people, our community, and our environment. We're a human organization working to positively impact the world. And we do that by creating the best employee and customer experience we can. We believe in, and have been recognized for, our commitment to a diverse and inclusive environment for all. That's why we invest in our employees with world-class benefits, like enhanced mental health coverage, backup childcare, and paid time off for part-time workers. And it's why we're fully supportive of LGBT rights and are aligning our operations with the UN LGBTI Standard of Conduct for Business. We provide learning and development programs that are second to none. We follow responsible sourcing practices, conduct audits, and provide training and oversight for the factories that produce our private label products. Because we live and work in thousands of communities around the country, we're determined to make a difference there. It's a fact, nearly every job requires tech skills. That's where our Best Buy Teen Tech Centers come in. We locate them in underserved communities to give teens the opportunity to learn for free the technical skills they will need for our modern economy. Then we connect them to paid internships and mentoring through our Career Pathways program, creating a talent pipeline back to Best Buy and partner companies that gives jobs to the students who need them most. We're committed to our environmental work because we understand our impact on the planet. We have an obligation to be part of the solution and have set bold, science-based goals to meaningfully reduce our impact. We do that by using things like LED lighting, more efficient vehicles, and renewable energy sourcing. But it's also our responsibility to help our customers reduce their impact by providing things like ENERGY STAR certified products, smart thermostats, and other devices to help make their homes as efficient as possible, saving them billions of dollars in the process. We're also helping propel the circular economy, where our repair and trade-in programs give used products a second life. And we run the most comprehensive e-waste recycling program of all U.S. retailers, putting materials of all kinds right back into the manufacturing process. An innovative, compassionate employer, a leading advocate for the underserved, and an active steward of the planet. Best Buy, serving our people, our communities, and our environment. For good.
Please join. Thank you. Right here. Thank you. Terrific. Well, let's start with this big picture question of purpose. The Business Roundtable turned heads a few weeks ago, as you know, with an update or restatement of purpose's business of being that to serve the interests of all stakeholders, not just shareholders. You've been at this topic for quite some time. You've got a very interesting philosophy you call Purposeful Leadership. Tell us what that is and why it matters.
Yeah, and we were happy to sign the BRT statement about corporate purpose. I think we feel that we're at a time where we need a refoundation of capitalism. You know, in the 18th century, Jean-Jacques Rousseau, who is French, of course, published a book about the social contract, which led to the French Revolution and the American Revolution. It was about the legitimacy of power. We need this kind of refoundation. And the basic ideas start with a few simple thoughts. You know, there's the first question about why do we work? What's the purpose of working? Work is not a curse or a chore. You know, people have this image that the reason why we work is because we sinned in paradise. Now, the vision is that work can be, you know, a key part of our search for meaning as individuals, right? And that work can be a way for us to contribute to the common good. Similarly, about companies. Companies, at the end of the day, if you think about it, are simply a group of individuals working together in pursuit of a goal. And I'm on the record for saying the purpose of a company is not to make money. I've said this to our shareholders. They said they completely understand. You know, of course we have to make money. And by the way, our share price has gone from $11 to, I think, 75 or something like this. So we did okay with them. But it's an outcome, and it's not the purpose. We said at Best Buy, you saw it in the video, that our purpose is to enrich lives through technology. So it's to serve the customers and do good things for them. And then it's to serve all of the stakeholders, the customers, the employees, our partners, the vendors, the communities in which we operate, the environment, and then our shareholders. And the idea, Eric, is that there's no need for trade-offs. Sometimes people come to you and say, should we take care of the customers or the employees or the shareholders? So 98% of the time, the best answer is and. Of course, in order to create great financial results, you need to have great employees that do great things for customers. So there's no need to choose between the various stakeholders. In fact, leadership, purposeful leadership, is about being clear about your purpose as an individual and how it connects, with the company you work at. And by the way, for everybody in the room, if you feel the meaning of your life and the purpose of the company you work at are not aligned, just leave. Go somewhere else. Find a place where it's going to be aligned. And then it's to mobilize the organization in support of this. And the role of leaders is to create this environment that can unleash this human magic that you can see today in the Best Buy stores. And here's the good news, is that you can achieve, back to this and versus or, you can achieve extraordinary results simultaneously with all of the stakeholders. I'm very proud, now that I've passed the baton of CEO at Best Buy, is that, from a customer standpoint, our revenue is up, our market share is up, customer satisfaction is up, employee engagement is very high. I think in all of retail, we're the second highest rated company on Glassdoor. We work closely with our vendors. Barron's named us the #1 most sustainable company. I think in the US, therefore, not therefore in the planet, maybe the Netherlands when. And then from a total shareholder return standpoint, we've been at the top for many years. So there's no need to choose. And I think we need to refound capitalism. And I don't know what we call it, whether it's conscious capitalism, like John Mackay of Whole Foods has said, or caring capitalism. But that's where we are. That's what we need to do. And it works. That's the good news.
Super. Thank you for that. So let's zero in a little bit on Renew Blue and the transformation. You arrived at a company with a great foundational culture, a very proud history, but that was experiencing some tough times. And then you unleashed this program on it. What was your approach? Where did you start? How did this work?
So imagine a rewind history. So September 2012. So Best Buy, we're supposed to die, right? The internet or Amazon is going to kill us. So we have strategic challenges. Also, some of our vendors are building their own stores, like Apple. Quality of service has gone down, unfortunately. So we have operational challenges. We have leadership challenges. The CEO has been fired for bad behavior and probably bad performance as well. And we have shareholder challenges. Our largest shareholder, our founder, wants to take the company private. The share price is, very low. So we have the all-you-can-eat menu of challenges. Okay? And the good news is I love challenges, all right? And my friend Jim Citrin, who is at Spencer Stewart doing a lot of CEO searches, told me, you need to take this job. I said, Jim, you're crazy, right? I don't know anything about retail, and this is a mess. He said, no, study. And I studied, and I thought we could do a turnaround. And so the key thing here, back to our topic, when we unveiled Renew Blue, which is the name of the strategy we adopted at the time, in November of 2012, in front of our shareholders in New York. So talk about crazy. 2 months after starting, you unveil your strategy. That's crazy. But the strategy was founded on addressing the 5 stakeholders: the customers, the employees, the vendors, the shareholders, and the communities, and the environment. We never dropped the ball on that. Because we believe that, when you do a turnaround, you cannot lose your soul. Most companies, or many companies, it's tempting. A lot of investors say, Hubert, you're going to need to close a lot of stores. You're going to need to fire a lot of people. And it turns out all of our stores were profitable, and that people are the key engine of our success. So what was the strategy? The strategy was fairly simple at the end of the day. We decided that we need to be priced. It's all about the customer when you do a turnaround. We decided to match online prices. At the time, showrooming was what was going to kill us, right? People going to our stores, talking to our blue shirts, getting a lot of information, then buying online on Amazon. And so we said, all right, very simple. Our prices are going to be competitive, and we're going to match online prices, so we're taking price off the table. Then we invested in the online shopping experience. So if you go to the website or the app now, it's just wonderful. We ship as fast as Amazon, so we ship same day, next day. During your holiday shopping season, you can take advantage of that. We also invested in the customer experience in the stores. People need help, need advice about what to choose. And so the stores now look great. We also partnered with the vendors. So instead of squeezing the vendors, we decided to partner with them. And because if you're a tech company that invests billions of dollars in R&D to have these great products, you actually need to showcase the fruit of your billions of dollars of R&D investment. And a world without Best Buy, would be grim, because where would you showcase these products? So we've partnered with all of the tech companies, whether it's Apple, Samsung, Sony, Google, Amazon now, Facebook, and they've invested in our stores so to showcase the fruit of their billions of dollars of R&D investment. And then we did take cost out, about $2 billion, but the way we did it, so anybody of you in the room who is in a turnaround, I've learned something many years ago from a client of mine when I was at McKinsey. In a turnaround, first thing you do is you increase revenue. If you're going to have to reduce costs, which you may have to do, don't start with people. In fact, finish with people. Go after non-salary expenses, which at most companies is 80% of the cost structure. Right? And so, as an example, we sell a lot of TVs, right? And we break a lot of them because they're very fragile. So there's about $100 or $200 million of TV junk out every year at Best Buy, because we sell probably $15 billion. That's a lot of waste. Well, if we can reduce the TV junk out, that's good for the customers, because who wants to buy a broken TV? Raise your hand. Okay, 0%, exactly 0%. And it's a cost, and then for the environment, it's better. And you only reduce headcount as a last resort if you cannot do, if it's not sufficient to increase revenue and cut non-salary expenses. So that was the first phase, and then we're now in the second phase, which is very exciting. We call it Building the New Blue, and that's where we redefine our purpose as enriching lives through technology by addressing key human needs. So that leads us to getting into very exciting spaces like using technology to help aging seniors live longer in their home with the help of technology. So we put sensors in their home to monitor their activities of daily living. And so it's good that's another example where it's good for the customers, and our new CEO is going to take this to the next level. So it's a great example where you can do a turnaround without losing your soul, and by mobilizing the energy of all of the stakeholders in support of the purpose and creating great results.
Super. So part of that story, which is really, really interesting to us, you said you can do a turnaround, not lose your soul. You said earlier, we made sure we didn't drop the good things that we had started to do on environment. From our observation, I would say quite the opposite, that the sustainability commitments of the company, corporate responsibility, has strengthened even while, or maybe you would even say, that played a role in refocusing, re-inspiring companies. Say a bit more about that. Which parts of it are most exciting to you and that you believe as CEO really helped you with these objectives? So
we'll get into the details, but I want to go back to philosophy, and I'll read a quote for you. So not many CEOs quote poets during a speech, and we're going to put it on the screen. So this is from a Lebanese poet, Khalil Gibran, who said, "Work is love made visible." And then he continues and says, "Always you've been told that work is a curse and labor a misfortune. But I said to you that when you work, you fulfill a part of Earth's furthest dream assigned to you when that dream was born. And in keeping yourself with labor, you are in truth loving life. And to love life through labor is to be intimate with life's inmost secret." And I think this idea that work is love made visible is at the heart, literally, of the refoundation of capitalism and at the heart of business. And so imagine if we had turned around Best Buy and we would have destroyed, the soul of the company, and we would have forgotten about, the only planet we have. What would we have accomplished as human beings? And so it's this fundamental idea. And as we get into the details, that means we're going to have to love every one of the stakeholders. It's about customer love and brand love. I think that the idea that many companies are embracing the idea that you want your customers to love you, and it's based on what's important to them, which increasingly has to do with being a socially responsible company. You want your employees to be so energized, so happy working at the company that they're going to do great things for customers. You want to partner with the vendors. You want to do great things for shareholders, because shareholders, I said our purpose is not to make money, but shareholders have a very important role. They're in charge of your retirement. you know, and that of your parents. So we need to do great things for them. And then, of course, we have to do it in a sustainable way for the communities and the planet. It's about doing well by doing good. And we know that it's going to be really hard for business to do well if the communities in which we operate are not healthy. So it's really a no-brainer. And as you work as individuals in this room, because I'm obviously preaching to the choir here, as you lead the sustainability efforts of your companies, you know, a suggestion I would have is connect it to the business purpose of the company. Again, there's no trade-offs here. The investments we've made, and we'll talk about it, in LED lighting in our stores, I mean, the payback is like 2 years. How difficult is it to make a decision like this? So connect the activities. This is not in the nice to, what you do is not in the nice to have category. It is essential to the business success, and to the extent that you can connect your specific programs to the overall success of your company is, of course, you know, the board of the company, the management team, of which you are a part, are going to, you know, obviously violently embrace that.
Wonderful. Go into a little bit more detail on the climate commitments that you've made and how you see that rolling out. It's some very ambitious, interesting approach to science-based targets, reaching out to talk about product impact, customers in their home.
Yeah, so we've really embraced this, and we're going to continue to raise the bar. So the program has really two main components. One is in our own operations, reducing the carbon footprint. So from a baseline of 2009, we've reduced our carbon footprint in our operation by 50%. By 2030, it's going to be reduced by 75%. And by 2050, we're going to be carbon neutral. And so there's a whole range of activities around that, around LED lighting, around, you know, we have the Geek Squad, also can help you during holiday, install that new TV. They have hybrid cars, and so that's also helpful. There's you know, in our packaging, so in our supply chain, when we ship the product to you, we now have new technology that we're deploying, where instead of shipping air, you know, we're designing the size of the box to exactly fit the size of the package we're sending to you. So there's a lot of activities around this. But we go beyond this because, you know, we also know that what we sell to our customers, you know, there's a lot of energy consumption and carbon involved. So we involve that part of the supply chain as well. And so we've made a commitment to reduce the carbon footprints in the usage by the consumers of what we sell by 20% by 2030. And all of these goals are in line with the Paris Accord that, again, companies are committed to. And so that means we work with the vendors on the design of the product. You know, you'll see in our stores a lot of Energy Star products. We work also with the utilities to encourage them to move to clean energy. And then, of course, we have a number of programs. So, of course, if you have bought a product at Best Buy and for some reason after a few years it breaks, we have an entire force with the Geek Squad that will help repair, so keep the products longer in the life out there. We have a trade-in program. We have a leasing program. We, as was mentioned in the video, we have this huge recycling program. So 2 billion pounds of products that are recycled. And of course, we work with our vendors and a number of companies. But so one of the things you can do during your holiday shopping season, so take some of the electronics you have in your home, whether or not you bought it at Best Buy, come to a Best Buy store, we'll recycle it. Most of the time it's for free. If it's a TV, that there's a small fee. But then you'll do your shopping during holidays. So again, doing well by doing good. So these are some of the initiatives we are underway, and we'll keep raising the bar. I know the team led by Corey Barry, our wonderful CEO, is committed to taking this to the next level. We only have one planet, and I have two wonderful children. They're very aware, right? Because this is, as you said, Minister, we're the generation that can make a difference. This is us.
Wonderful. I'm going to open to questions after a few more for myself, so do remember you can submit them via Twitter, hashtag BSR19. I'm sure we'll have plenty. We'll do our best to pick through them and get you involved in this. Going further on climate, and then I want to switch and talk about your diversity and inclusion measures, which have also been really interesting. But on the front of climate, we've heard a few times in this gathering and we will hear even more later today, about the important role that business can play, not just in doing the things you've described, but actually being a public advocate for the right things. So say a little bit about how you see the role of companies in general, and maybe, if Best Buy has thought about this specifically for their own purpose. We're encouraging business leadership on public policy for climate. What does that look like?
Yeah. So I talked about Jean-Jacques Rousseau in the 18th century. I'm now going to talk about Alexis de Tocqueville in the 19th century. Alexis de Tocqueville was this French guy who visited America in the middle of the 19th century, and he was struck by something that's so unique to this. Well, it's not unique, but it's so well developed in this country, which is everybody cares about the community. This is a country that was based on the idea that government is interesting but not so fascinating. This is people who fled tyranny. And so this is a context where, we're in charge of our destiny. And it's in Minneapolis, it's very interesting. There's this very strong sense, as you and I know, that people care about the community. So when you move to Minneapolis, you get in the boat and you row. I remember, everybody has got their political views, and I recently became a U.S. citizen, so next year I'm going to be able to vote. Okay? But when the president decided to get out of the Paris Accord, I think this was an encouragement to cities and companies who believed that we were responsible citizens to move forward with actions on climate change. Similarly, when the current administration tightened immigration policies, I remember attending a dinner. So a friend of mine in Minneapolis, Omar Ishraq, is the CEO of Medtronic. He's from Bangladesh, he's a Muslim, and so he invited me to an iftar dinner, which is at the beginning of Ramadan. And we were reflecting on how the climate was changing around immigration. And for me, this was a personal invitation, because I believe that diversity and inclusion, and by the way, before becoming a citizen, I was a legal immigrant, so that was if the FBI is in the room, I was good. But diversity and inclusion is such a powerful engine for this country and for any company. The importance of belonging, is so important. So we'll come back to that. But we said, this is an invitation for us to do more. And so the next day I sent an email to everybody at the company and said, if whoever you are at the company, I want you to feel safe. And if you're a Muslim, I want you to feel that you belong, right? So it's an invitation. So what does that mean, to answer your question? That means, as companies, we're members of this country, members of the communities in which we operate. And we're not elected officials, so we don't get to decide, policy. But we get to think about it, and we get to be invited at the table. In the movie, The King's Speech, remember when the king, in the cathedral says, I have a voice, right? And his speech teacher tells him, indeed you do. And as members of the community, as citizens or as companies, we have a voice. So we have to participate in the debate. Certainly at Best Buy, we participate in the debate around trade, because of course it has a big impact on us. But around DACA, we wrote a letter inviting the government to fix the issue here. And on climate change or gun control, I know you guys talked about gun control. Our employees are impacted, our children are impacted. We can speak up and encourage those who can make decisions to make the right decisions, because we don't want our employees to die, let me tell you.
So it's terrific, and just to point out again, for those of you who might have missed the nuance, really, really important, interesting, unusual part of the climate commitments at Best Buy is actually baking into the commitment we need to engage with our utility partners to help green the power supply. And I think we're going to be seeing a lot more of it, but it's a really great signal to send. So I would like to get the rest of the room involved in this. We do have mics as well as Twitter feed, which I'm hoping will appear on the monitors shortly. But why don't we go to a question from the floor there? And please, again, just tell us who you are, where you're from, and a tweet-length question, I think is what Dunson said. I like that.
Harriet Howie, Diageo. Thank you very much for sharing your thoughts. It's really inspiring to hear your leadership in such an important area. I'm curious, how challenging was it to embed this strategy into the culture of your business from your leadership team downwards? And do you have any advice for organisations who are looking to make a similar change in putting sustainability at the core of their commercial side of the business?
It was not difficult. As Eric mentioned, Best Buy has a long, wonderful history. You know, our founder, Dick Schultz, and his key partner, Brad Anderson, you know, nicest individuals on the planet, I would say, and had embedded core values, very strong core values about employees and customers and doing the right thing. As an illustration, our founder, you know, based on the increase of the share price, he now calls me his dear friend, you know, has committed to give $1 billion of his wealth to pursue a number of causes. So the backdrop was, the culture was very good. I think that what had happened for a few years is that, you know, it had been lost a little bit for a variety of reasons. Don't get me wrong, in 2012, you know, we spent most of the time, you know, being focused on customers, but we were clear on the philosophy. And I think that the advice you're giving me, or the advice you're asking me to give, is this. I think if you're part of a or as you are part of a team, at whatever level in your organization, I think it's really important to have discussions about purpose and values. And I remember maybe a couple or 3 years ago, having a discussion with our executive team. You know, every quarter we would get together for an offsite, and the first night we would have a dinner. And one dinner was about sharing our individual purpose and life stories. Because I felt that, you know, we couldn't drive this transformation if it was not coming from within, right? Remember the quotes of Tessio in Godfather, right? He tells Tom Hagen, "Tell Mike it was only business. I really liked him." As if, you know, there's no emotion in business, right? Of course there's emotion. We're human. A company is a human organization made of individuals working together in pursuit of a goal. So you have to bring your whole self to work. And you have to talk about who you are, what matters to you individually, and share it with your team, and then decide how you want to live your life at work. You know, there's this notion of work-life balance, which is important because we have our families, but I don't like the phrase because it almost implies that life is outside of work. Right? Do you guys work during your life? Yes, raise your hand if you do. Okay, everybody, all right, everybody does. And it's an important part of our life. So how do we want to live our life at work? And so you have to, I think the role of leadership is to create an environment in which, you know, this human magic can be unleashed. And I think we have to talk about this in the boardroom, in the executive team, and at every level. You know, our stores do this. So I remember one of our store general managers in Boston. One of the things he did is he asked each of the associates in the stores, "Tell me about your dream." At Best Buy or outside of it, what is your dream? And he would put down the dream of every associate in the break room, and he would tell the associate, "All right, now my job is to help you achieve your dream." All right? And he followed through, and he did it. Imagine what it does, right, to the individuals working at the company. So I think we have to be authentic, we have to be real, and the secret of business, the heart of business, again, is unleashing this human magic, and we cannot disassociate, you know, who we are at work with who we are in life, and I think we all care about this particular planet. And the good news is that increasingly shareholders are encouraging us to do this. So Larry, it's well known, right? Larry Fink, the CEO of BlackRock, the largest fund manager in the world, started to write to us, public company CEOs, a few years ago, asking us about the purpose of our company, asking us about the long-term strategy of our companies, the sustainability of our companies. And I was so thrilled that he did this that I hand-delivered to him personally my response, my shareholder letter. I went to his office in July, I think a couple of 3 years ago, and I said, "Larry, this is my personal response." And so any situation where people say, "Well, but we have our shareholders," I think companies that use shareholder or short-term pressure of quarterly results as an excuse to not do the right thing, it's just an excuse. Companies that are too focused on short-term results are not going to perform in the long term. So my personal experience and conviction with all of my gray hair, all of these years in business, is that there's no trade-off, there's no conflict. That's how you have to approach it. You have to refuse the idea of trade-offs and conflicts. But I think it starts with the conversation with people around you and how you around the table want to live your life at work.
Wonderful. So we've got some questions that have come in. I'll go back out to the floor in a second. And one of them I'm going to pick first because it's one of our favorite topics here. Where do you think collaboration between businesses, and presumably others as well, will be critical in the coming decade, and what opportunities do you see?
Oh, it's such a great question. So I'm going to give almost a provocative example to show so people thought that Amazon was going to kill us, right? It's okay if you shop on Amazon on anything that's not electronics. Okay. Again, they have a site. We do. We have the same prices. We ship as fast as they do. So in soccer terms, let's call it a draw. And then we have our stores, and we'll come to you. And I cannot I'll help myself. I have to sell, right? All the time.
Work is love,
Exactly.
Yeah, right.
So Amazon was going to kill us. Now, if you look at it, if you go to a Best Buy store or online, you see we sell Amazon products. We've always sold Amazon products. And then last year, we announced a partnership with Amazon, where Jeff gave us the exclusive rights to the Fire TV platform, which is their smart TV platform, to embed in smart TVs. And the only place where you can get them is at Best Buy or through Best Buy on Amazon.com. And when we announced this partnership, he came to one of our stores in Bellevue, Washington, and we did a press conference. And Jeff said, a TV is a considerate purchase. You have to see it. And the best place in the world where you buy TVs is Best Buy. And so the Wall Street Journal and Star Tribune, their jaw just literally dropped. And one of them wrote, it was surreal. So why on earth did we decide to do this with the people who were supposed to kill us? Because there's this view that zero-sum games are a bad idea. The view that the world is about zero-sum games, there's winners and losers. No, you can create opportunities. The reason why we continue to sell Amazon products and that Amazon has invested in our stores, you'll see an Amazon corner in our store that showcases the Echo products. And the reason we've done this partnership is good for the customers. We can create demand, we can meet the needs of the customers, and so we help each other. And of course, we compete on other stuff because they do sell a few products we sell too. But it's this idea that there's no zero-sum game. And I love. There's a great book by Ben and Rosamund Zander that talks about this. This is the idea that this is not about zero-sum game. They talk, for example, about grading, and every company does grading, and including the best business schools in the world do grading. And at Harvard, these amazing students, and some of them need to get an A, a B, a C, a D, and so forth. And Ben Zander starts his class by saying everybody in my class is going to get an A, provided that you're going to tell me why you're going to get an A. But why does the fact that Eric is going to get an A mean that maybe Mary or Joe should not get an A? Maybe both of us can get an A. So it's this idea that you can create opportunities by partnering. That's what we did. One of the elements of the secret sauce at Best Buy was to partner in support of the customers. The other example, Jeff was talking at a business council meeting recently about their goal to achieve the Paris Accord goal 10 years ahead of the goals. And he said, anybody who'd like to learn about how we're going to do this, we'll share. So that's a great example of collaboration as well.
Fantastic. And we've got another question that's come in on Twitter that might be another area of such opportunity, and is, I know you understand, is a really big deal. And that's this question about how do we intelligently deal with the issue of technology obsolescence, reducing consumption from product to service. You've had some really interesting experiments on this, and we were just talking before the speech about this.
Yeah,
How
exactly.
do you think about this, and what can Best Buy do?
Yeah, so of course, the quantity of technology products that are bought, I mean, it's throughout our lives, and the idea that after 1 or 2 years or 3 years you just throw it away makes no sense. So we've been very active on extending the life of these products. Of course, there's recycling. Again, we have this wonderful recycling program because there's all of these components in these products, these rare earths, there's gold, there's copper, there's plastic. You know, we've working with HP, we're selling a printer that's completely circular, so you can do that. But it's even better if you can, before recycling, you can actually extend the life. So the initiatives we have there are, we repair if it's broken. There's trade-in. So if during holiday you want to buy a new phone, bring your old phone, or a new tablet. Bring your old tablet. We'll buy it from you because it has residual value, and then we'll resell it. And then there's a very interesting program as well, which is essentially product as a service, right? Where we sell you a subscription, and whenever you're going to get the new product, we'll get the old product back, we'll refurbish it, and then we'll resell it either in the US or internationally. So there's a variety of ways we can use to make sure that the products continues to have a long life, even though some of us want to or need to have the latest gadget. That's okay, because we'll find a way to have this product continue to have a life.
Excellent, great. So last chance from the floor, and then I'm going to close us.
Thank you so much. I think it's been a great conversation. I'm Georgette Medinez, and to be fair, I'm from BSR, and I work in consumer sectors. My question is, at BSR, we look at our member companies like Best Buy and others and talk about the influence that you have. And in the video earlier, you showed some insights about the way you look at your private label suppliers. And I'm wondering what role you think that that Best Buy has taken to influence both your private label suppliers, but also branded companies, partner brands that you work with, as far as them investing more in sustainability and social issues, et cetera, et cetera.
That's a good question. Yeah,
there's a variety of, it's very exciting, there's a variety, because when you have a large company, you can use it as a platform to create good things in the world. So with our vendors, one of the things we do, which is not related to the products they sell, but to the program we talked about, which is the Best Buy Teen Tech Centers. Right? So we work with all of the major tech companies to create these centers in disadvantaged communities to help disadvantaged kids, teens, learn about technology skills. And there's one in San Jose that we're going to open here with Google. And we have the power to mobilize these vendors to make, so by the end of next year, we'll have 60 centers throughout the country, and it's in part with the help of our vendors. As relates to the products we buy from them, I talked about how we partner with them so as to reduce the carbon emission of the products we sell. We've also been very engaged around conflict minerals. With Dodd-Frank, there was a law that made it compulsory for us to check that there was no conflict minerals in the products that we sell, and we've been very engaged with that. So there's a variety of ways. Human rights, is another one. So there's a variety of ways. The other one is diversity and inclusion. How difficult is it for any one of our companies to tell our vendors, including from a service standpoint, so the law firms that work with you, the ad companies, to say, if you don't have a diverse team, don't bother showing up for the bid. You'll save on your carbon footprint coming to our headquarters to bid. Don't even bother. We have the power to make a difference by spreading what we believe is important. And the good news is that it's doable. We have the power to do it, and it contributes to creating better results for all of our stakeholders. So, how exciting is that?
Wonderful. So we are out of time, and before I completely finish, I'll do the announcing first. We're going to go into a break. So you're going to have a break from 10 to 10:30. And then we've got a whole raft of really exciting breakout sessions. Hubert, if you're not busy, please join.
Eric, thank you.
And then well, I'll see you back here. We'll all see you back here for lunch. So thank you. Join me in thanking Hubert Joly for a great talk. Thanks. That was a real pleasure. Thank you.